This is Trip. They said they needed somebody whose mic demeanor matches how the D-League get it hype inside that ice arena. For live action analysis and highlights, you need to let your host on the mic. Mr. Reichert be the light to lead you through life between the pipes. Incite like an encyclopedia. Look inside yourself, find the fight to compete in you. Get in while you can, the numbers doubling fast. Asses in the seats and snot bubbles on the glass. Sign your name on the line for your spot and lock it up. This is hockey. We'll see who talking tough when they drop the puck. Try to keep your teeth and knock it up. Sorry about your luck. You should probably go sit down somewhere safe and get doctored up. Turn it up loud, let it knock in your truck. Or in the office, sound waves ripple through coffee cups. Log on, lock it in, and lock it up. It's DLeagueRadio.com. Let's talk it up. Log on, lock it in, and lock it up. It's DLeagueRadio.com. Let's talk it up. Lace your skates up or sit back reading the tea leaves. You are now tuned into the D-League. If you ain't bumping this in your ride, you need a DD. You are now tuned into the D-League. Leave your TV, come and see it in 3D. You are now tuned into the D-League. It's the best podcast in the biz, better believe me. You are now tuned into the D-League.
It's a great day for hockey here in Urbandale, Iowa, as we are about to get underway for the CIDL Intermediate Championship. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Eric Zamora. I'll be providing play-by-play. To my right is Craig Fraken. He'll be color commentator. And before we get too far into the pregame, I do want to point out everyone a part of this broadcast, as obviously Matt Whips will be helping us out down on the sidelines, Brett DeBryan running the camera, and Rich Harms, our engineer and producer for this, what should be a fantastic matchup. And we've got a lot to follow as the novice game just finished up. Congratulations to the Wild Goose, 3-2 victors over the Bandits. And a lot to follow as voice of the Iowa Wild was here just moments ago. Joe O'Donnell with a fantastic job of the call. So Craig, as we kind of take a look at this contest, got about 3 minutes and change left in warm-ups. I think we're all year we were expecting a good matchup. I don't think we could have asked for much more here in the championship tilt. No, I mean, with these two teams coming in, the Wolverines come in super hot off of the last few games in a shootout, nonetheless. It's a goalie battle. David Brown and Aaron Enderlead is probably the two top goalies in the league, if not, I mean, in D-League generally. So they both come in at one, and Enderlead at an 8.47 and Brown at an 8.50 save percentage. So extremely well for the defensive. The Jesters have super high power. One thing to mention, Justin Moore. Justin Moore is not there for the Wolverines, which is, a top goal scorer for the Wolverines. We'll see where they can get some production from them. Well, and who can help him. And as you mentioned, kind of when I took a look at, obviously, both you and I played on the other side of town in the D+ League. So you are a lot more familiar, though, having subbed in as many times as you did. But when I took a look at the teams and look at their rosters, obviously there were people that I wasn't aware of or super familiar with. But these were two teams that I had pegged as they're going to be, there at the end of the season. And for the Jesters, it's kind of been that way their whole way out. 16-5-4, their overall record, and 15-5-4 in the regular season. But the Wolverines, I was a bit surprised to see them below 500. But as you mentioned, they've gotten it done when it's counted, although by the skin of their teeth, advanced twice in shootouts both times. And obviously, we may have that same scenario here today at Buccaneer Arena. But I think it does start for both teams at their own crease. There are a couple other people that you could put in that conversation, but certainly I don't think anybody would argue with someone who made the statement that I think these are the best two goaltenders are the two that are still alive and vying for a championship. For the Wolverines, they've got scoring. I mean, even with Moore gone, and I know he's listening out in New York, but they've got Garby, they've got Davis, they've got guys who can help out. I think where they've struggled throughout the season when they've had some down games has not been Interlead, but the people helping out in front of him. So what I'm going to be curious to see is when you're looking at the Jesters, and it's a laundry list of guys who contribute offensively, where the Wolverines, I think, are either going to win or lose this battle. It's going to end up being on the defensive side, and I don't just mean the blue liners. That means that all hands on deck, and the forwards are going to have to be hustling and playing both sides of the ice.
Yeah, it's something that's lost in the rec league and D league here is the back check from the forwards. The back check from the forwards helping out the D and making sure the wings don't get too high. They have some scoring power from the defense, the Jesters do, with Reichart, Brott, Kyle Gray, and Scott Van Dort. They all can fire the puck from deep, and look for them to do that. They're going to go ahead and fire that. One thing that I'm looking here, and I don't know if my – oh, there he is. I'll say Kirill came in a little bit late. I was a little worried because, again, that's Kirill's another somebody, a spark for the Wolverines and can give them some firepower. So we're about ready to get it going. There's the buzzer. So I'm excited. Like you said, the Goose and the Bandits had a really good game. I see nothing but good game here from the Wolverines and Jesters.
And let's go ahead and go through the lineups for today's contest. As you mentioned already, Justin Moore out for the Wolverines. Also, Adam Lowell was going to be a game time decision. I think he was out of town, but as I haven't checked in to see if he's here, we'll do that in a moment. But I was told that he wouldn't make it, so we're expecting him. For the Wolverines, they come in with an overall record of 9-11-6, and they'll go with Chris Pauley, Ted Davis, and Brian Schuler as their top line left or right. Chad Van Horn and John Garby with Andrew Curiel, and then a couple of extra wings with Lowell and Glorioso. I think initially, and we'll see if they end up staying with that, Davis and Garby are going to run as a two-center tandem. Then Ryan Llewellyn, the captain, with Fred Woodward on his pairing, Dave Niemi, Matt Thiele, and Greg Miller. And I should say I was kind of given those five as not necessarily pairing, so we'll see where they put them.
Yeah, Niemi is right now starting with Llewellyn.
And Interlead in net. They're in green jerseys, white numerals, black trim, going from right to left on your screen. And we'll take the opening draw. It's Tim Young. Wins it back to his right defenseman, and they'll try to get it back up. Young is the captain, centering Dylan Young and Torin Erickson. Erickson on the left, tangled up right in front of his own bench there as Woodward applying some pressure. That's Chad Van Horn. Sent up, they'll try to advance it. Young will pick that off. That's Tim Young. Comes into the offensive zone from the left circle, and a little bit too many moves there as this will be played back. It's John Reichert with Josh Brott on the other side, the starting defensive pairing for the Jesters. It'll be the blue line of the Blues fans, Scott Van Dort and Kyle Gray next up, and then David Brown in between the pipes. Should note that Kevin Coble out this game due to work commitments, and not only a loss in the talent side, but obviously one of the leaders on this Jesters team as well.
Absolutely, especially on the defensive side. A smart defenseman, knows where to be, and takes a lot of block shots.
So the Wolverines will set it up. They're trying to come up with something that they've not done yet this season. That's defeat the Jesters. Here's Young. Tries to feed that over. He had Erickson with him. Those two have gotten a lot of familiarity with each other. This is their third season in a row playing on the same team. This is the first time they haven't done it wearing reefer jerseys. Back, and it's Tim Young. He'll take it from his own defensive end. That one slowly rolling to the goal line, but there certainly was not going to be an icing there, as if he'd wanted to, could have played it much earlier. Here's Thiele at center ice. He'll feed it over to the left side. It's Dylan Glorioso. Glorioso tries to get one through Teague Boyd, and Boyd's jersey for a moment swallowed it. Rebound sitting there, and trying to bang that one home was Garby, but Brown will cover up. 18:03 to go, period number one, and already we've seen both sides with some scoring opportunities.
Yeah, mentioned Lowell was a game time decision. That was him put the puck on the Brown. Whips, what are you seeing down there?
I'm seeing some good energy from both sides, guys, especially the Wolverines. They're not backing down at all. They're going to try to play them straight up, and so far it's working.
Into the offensive zone. Mathers tries to set it up for Boyd, and a nice job defending that well. This will be over from the right circle. That was Lowell. For a moment, I thought he forgot which side he was shooting at, but that was clearly well wide of the net as he was using the backboards to try to wrap it around. Brought in, but Teague Boyd will not be able to get there in time, although important play as he sets up and fires one well off the mark is sometimes you'll see that pressure, even though you're not able to get to the puck in time, it really forces the opposition to rush their play. And I think that's exactly what happened. Kicked at, and I think that's Glorioso. Had he gotten the blade of his skate on it, that would have negated icing, but he must have just missed it. 16:48 to go, and we'll have an icing, bringing it back into the Wolverines' territory.
Yeah, I want to know if that's a set play, if they're looking for the breakout pass, because he was clear at the other blue line, ready to go, looking for that long pass. We'll see if they continue to try to do that.
The Jesters in black jerseys with white numerals and the rainbow puzzle trim. This is sent up the boards. That was Young trying to get to it. Backhanded deep by Uppmeyer. At the other end, Wolverines looking for a clearance. Instead, it's kept in. Reichert shot blocked, sent out to center ice almost as Ted Davis was looking to get sprung there. Here's Pauly across the line, immediately tries to hand it off, a little bit out of the reach of Davis. Around their own end, a Jester takes a spill, but they'll play on as this is Robert Bonnet. Bonnet out of Indianola, Iowa, gets tangled up for a moment, but presses on. That was Miller applying the defense. Bonnet's first attempt, centering pass, slowed down by Young. Reichert flips one through. He had quite a bit of torque on that. Not as much velocity, though, as I think he was initially looking for. Got a little bit of loft there, and probably not the angle he was looking for. Touched on, and the Wolverines pressing in transition. That was Curiel. Curiel gets a right back. Snaps a shot, but Reichert stepping up. Again, you don't always have to block a shot. Sometimes just that pressure is either going to deflect it or perhaps even just throw off the shooter enough to get that wide.
Yeah, definitely taking the pressure off of the defense, or off of Brown by deflecting that puck and giving pressure on to make them shoot it when they don't want to is definitely something you should do.
Speaking of pressure, Curiel in the offensive zone, forechecking hard, was able to win a battle with Uppmeyer. Garby tries to play it down the boards and does get it past his opposition's center, as those two will see each other quite often this contest. Young and Boyd, the two centers right now for the Jesters, although it sounds like they may end up rolling some people around. We'll keep an eye on that as the game progresses. Obviously, with the center being the position that does the most skating, you often want to keep them fresh. Centering pass by Boyd. Couple of backhand efforts, and it hits Twine, but from the wrong side as Dylan Young was looking for the backhander there. A big clearance, and even if this one does and it won't go for icing, or will it? Well, Brown came out, and I was curious to see how they called that, as it looked like Van Dort slowed down a little bit, but they're saying that the Aussie would not have had time to get down, and that'll bring it back into the north end.
Yeah, I didn't know. Browning trying to fake us all out, thought he was playing. Like you said, Scott doing what a veteran defenseman does, is slow down just a little bit like he couldn't get there.
Well, and to be honest, looked like he was going to want to play it as Van Dort teased that one up. A lot on that shot, just missing on the accuracy bar. Centering pass that actually kicks off the side of the cage. Jesters keep it in the zone. Young, that's Dylan Young, gets it lost in his skates for a moment. Boyd off the side of the iron. And then clanging one off the side of the cage was Erickson. So not a lot of shots on goal generated this shift, but the Jesters have certainly been winning the possession battle over the last few minutes. They'll talk it out, and then Erickson and Young get tangled up. They actually end up colliding. This allows a break the other way. Wolverines in the offensive zone trying to get everything on that shot. I believe that was Davis. And back into the other end. Boyd cuts across, slows down at the line. And excuse me, that was Schuler teeing one up. Now Garby tries to beat Brown on the near side, and Brown gets the right pad down in time. Quick wraparound attempt as Brown was still hugging onto his blocker side post instead of the glove side, which is where it ended up coming up. Here's Reichert. Some choppy steps, but he's able to get that through the crease and out the other side. Mathers withstanding some resistance, then fires another shot. And a huge save by Anderlead. puts the left pad down, and not just the save, but then the fact that he controlled the rebound to go below the goal line instead of popping back out for a nice rebound. 12:15 to go in a scoreless first period. Wolverines use this opportunity to change up. Nice deft touch by Mathers for Young. Big save by Inderlead. That one had goal written all over it. And going back, Ian Mathers with a fantastic pass. All he really did is just slow down the pass that had come on the breakout into the offensive zone. Glorioso gives chase, but he'll be there just a hair late. Back into the Wolverines end, and that's been a recurring theme here as the Jesters have certainly kept this at their offensive third of the ice a lot more than vice versa.
Guys, right now Aaron Inderlead's keeping his team in this game. He is under barrage, and he's the X factor coming into this, and so far he's been wonderful.
And I happen to know that Inderlead actually got a good warm-up in yesterday in Ames, as Kurt DeSelles set up a scrimmage that he was involved in.
It's a goal!
They threw it out front, and it was tapped home, and the Wolverines take the lead. Now, I'm curious to see whether Glorioso touched it or not. If he did, that will be his 7th goal of the season. Otherwise, it'll go to Ted Davis. Either way, the play originates from behind the goal line, and a fortunate deflection for the Wolverines has them on top 1-0.
Yeah, the Wolverines, Ted Davis behind the goal line, threw it to the center. You never know what's going to happen. It either deflected off of Brown and in, or Glorioso was right there either to put it in or, like I said, off of one of Brown or the defenseman.
Centering pass, and Bonnet just can't pull the trigger. And now Wolverines with an odd man rush the other way. They're clean at the line from the right wing side, looking for a centering pass. Instead, it is forced behind the cage. But now up top with time, and a shot blocked, as that was Thiele looking to set up into the offensive zone. Now Young. Young fires through traffic, and that's a fantastic idea. When in doubt, just get it towards the net. And going back to a point you were making moments ago, I feel like everybody always says that if you can throw a shot on net, that's always a great idea. I'm going to go one further. Davis didn't throw that puck on net. He just threw it to the crease. And that's all you need to do is just get pucks in precarious spots for your opposition. Reichert, a couple of attempts, keeps it in the zone. Here's Boyd. Boyd had a man at the back door, although was tied up nicely as Thiele was making sure he kept an eye on him. Here's Miller, long outlet pass that is corralled by Pauly for a moment. Now it'll be Curiel. Curiel, I think, was trying to go to Garby there. Unfortunately, that got tied up in the skates of their line mate Pauly, and back into the offensive zone. The Wolverines, though, unable to come up with the puck. Reichert looking to break out. So they will indeed credit that to Ted Davis from Dylan Glorioso. We'll call it 8:46 of period number 1. And for those two players that when we were talking about who's going to step up with Justin Moore being out of town, those are certainly two players that nobody would be surprised if they're shouldering a lot of the offensive weight.
Absolutely. Glorioso with some speed, and he's got the assist guy. He knows how to play and can put it in the front of the net.
And
the Jesters have been carrying most of the play. I thought the Wolverines were going to be in trouble here, but this goal has really sparked them, and we'll see if they can get some more momentum and have it down in the Jesters' end a little bit more.
David Niemi gets it up for Pauly, sent, and that misses Garby. I want to point out that Niemi, someone who's been around D-League for a while, and in fact, I remember last year when we found out that most people had been saying his name wrong because it's spelled as Niemi of the NHL, same spelling but different pronunciation. And to your point, that's what this team is looking to do right now. Obviously, they don't want Inderlead seeing 40 shots, but it seems like they're content knowing, hey, the Jesters are going to get their shots. They're fine with it. There's another one, and it's chested down by the goaltender, and then he covers up. I would not be surprised as this game develops if it stays this type of a dogfight for the Wolverines to try to find times to slow down the play, and quite honestly, maybe in other situations where Inderlead would be looking to keep a puck alive, he'll just say, let's freeze it, let's take some icings, let's do what we've got to do. But at this point, the Wolverines are probably with the way things have been unfolding thus far, not going to be too disappointed to have some whistles, have some stoppages in play.
No, as you can see, they're getting out of the zone as soon as they can have it. They're not looking for a breakout pass. They're looking for an open spot in the neutral zone and hopefully hitting somebody like that. But they're content in having it in the zone. I don't know that you're content with it, but they know the Jesters are a high-powered team. They're going to have their chances. As long as they're outside the zone, I think they're going to be all right with that shots.
Erickson steps up, and then Young from almost an impossible angle looked like he was going to bank it in off the netminder, but the pad of Inderlead got it up and over. Now Young with some fancy work. Then he's looking to find the other Young. That's Dylan, who cuts towards the net. Tied up, and Tim Young reaching in as Davis was doing his due diligence. Shot on, saved by Inderlead, and then a great job by the Wolverine defense of clearing that away, as that was Torrin Erickson who had his sights set on a rebound. Back behind the goal line, and Kyle Gray, who hails from Cedar Falls, sends it up to the red line. Played ahead by Woodward. Davis, as touching up, was Schuler. And I like the fact that we spent some time trying to get to know a lot of the players in CIDL, as here's an opportunity. Schuler reaches in, but asked a little bit of the guys about their background, where they're from. I think it's interesting that Brian Schuler is originally from Dubuque, a big Fighting Saints fan, trying to win a championship here at Buccaneer Arena. And as a quick shot is steered aside by Inderlead, Fraken, you and I are going to be heading to his neck of the woods in a couple of weeks and trying to win a championship for Des Moines. So into the offensive zone, Davis feeds it over here, Schuler, and kicked out by Brown. Not necessarily a true shot there, but Brown had to make sure that left in a hurry. Speaking of a hurry, here's Young. Young on the backhand, tries to feed it over a little bit behind Erickson. With an opportunity, Schuler sends it up, Garby coming straight off the bench, and Schuler will try to go side to side. Second effort, that's knocked off the skate of Boyd. With time at the red line, Jesters trying to advance play, and Schuler is able to just put his body up against the boards and make sure there's no crease, and slows play down for the moment. Here's Spear, fires one off, and again, Inderlead. It's not necessarily a goaltender that you say, well, he's making a lot of saves, that's how you can tell that he's playing well. Inderlead's controlling his rebounds like he's got the puck on a string right now.
Yeah, definitely controlling that. You saw him kick that rebound over to the boards, making sure that there's no second chance attempts.
And there, Brown gets rid of that puck before there's ever a shot on goal. And that's one of the underappreciated things of goaltenders, especially at this level, is how good they are at playing the puck with their stick. And he got a nice little snap on that one. Back into their own end, looking to turn with it, is Nemi. They'll feed that ahead into the offensive zone. Wolverines giving chase. Cutting in.
Oh,
backhand effort. Great look there by Mathers. And again, Inderlead is stood the test. Here comes Garby. Garby cuts across at the Buccaneer logo. However, they'll be well offside as he sweeps that into the offensive zone. And we'll get a stoppage here with just under 4 minutes to play in the first.
And guys, you can just feel the Wolverines' confidence growing with every big save that Inderlead's making. Eric, you said it a moment ago, he is really on today. He's controlling his rebounds just beautifully, and they're just feeding off that energy, and their confidence is really at a real high right now.
Inderlead is controlling his rebounds and offering no refunds, as here's Garby from the left side, snaps a shot, and Brown makes the stop. Wasn't quite sure where it was, and that's a heads-up play by his teammates. You know as well as anyone, Craig, is one of the most underappreciated things a goaltender can get are skaters who are communicating, telling you when you've got the puck and when to stay still, when it's loose, and directing you to where it was. And I think that the Wolverines might have had a second goal there if it wasn't for some big communication at the back end.
Yeah, Van Dort had his back door covered there. Anything that got between him and the puck, he had his stick right between Brown's legs to make sure that it didn't squeak by behind him.
So we'll take another break here, and that gives us an opportunity to thank the Keg Stand, the primary sponsor of D-League Radio, now in his third year of being the primary sponsor, located at 3530 Westtown Parkway in West Des Moines. Over 90 beers on tap with new tappings every week. A full menu of some of the best food in town. Food specials all day, Monday through Friday, and open until 2, 7 days a week. Great place to hang with friends or catch the big game on one of over their 15 big screen TVs as Upmeyer tries to get a shot through. That's blocked. It's the official sponsor of the CIDL, the official home of the new CIDL, and as always, the home of D-League Radio. That's the Keg Stand, 3530 Westtown Parkway. Centering pass by the Jesters, and nice job there tying up his Bonnet. Make sure that Thiele can't get a clearance. Young tries to feed that over for Reichert. Upmeyer takes his time, gets a shot on. Enderlead, no problem, and he'll hold on for a whistle. And again, every time when you've got a running clock, every time the team that's down, and it's obviously early, gets those shots, you almost got to be a little bit more selective because the goaltender is just going to get in that habit of, I'm going to hold on to this, and there goes another 10, 15, 20 seconds as the teams need to set up for the faceoff.
And Enderlead's a goalie that if he gets a lot of shots and he can start seeing the puck, saving them, every single save he makes is going to give him more and more confidence.
Young tried to get a shot off. It was deflected over to the other Young. It was Tim shooting, then Dylan trying to collect it with the glove and get a quick shot. We're inside of a minute in the opening stanza. Bonnet tries to set the table. That's denied. It's the captain, Llewellyn, number 33, although for some reason I put down 15 on our line chart. Couple of whacks at it, and the official will come over and let him know that he had it covered. I think Bonnet was trying to claim that he saw the puck loose. That's why he took an extra whack at it. But regardless of whether the puck's loose or not, as soon as you hear that whistle, you got to let go just because of safety issues.
Oh, absolutely. As a goalie who doesn't like people in the crease, definitely give a little bit of a break. I know it's a championship game, but we got a job to do tomorrow.
And that one misses everybody, including the attempt of Enderlead to sweep at it, although looking back at it, I think he's probably glad that he let that one go through. Shot from Young, and then diving over to make the play and break it up was David Niemi. That had a great opportunity for a late-minute goal, but the effort of Niemi, who comes over and laying on his stomach, is able to poke that one away, and a big reason the Wolverines are holding on to a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, you can see the benches right now. The Jesters are looking defeated a little bit, and the Wolverines look pumped and ready to go.
Let's go ahead and take a look at things from the west side as Matt Whips is on the bench with the Wolverines. Matt, what do you got for us?
Guys, we got a lot of talk going on right now. Obviously, it's just one period down. Llewellyn is giving his troops some instructions. I'll try to get an interview here in just a moment.
What is he saying down there? What are the game plan?
Well, it's a family show. I can't repeat most of the words he's saying.
That's very, very true. Brown's right there. I'm sure he'll give you an interview.
All right, so while Matt is, well, it looks like Matt's ready to go.
He's got somebody.
All right, I'm here with Greg Miller, who's all of a sudden got stage fright. Greg, you got a 1-0 lead. What do you got to do to expand this lead and shut this high-powered offense down?
Keep the pucks out of the net.
Well, it's not more simple than that. Thanks, Greg.
I mean, if hockey was just that simple.
It's funny because my mom has, for years, my mom is from South St. Paul, Minnesota. She is a very knowledgeable and very vocal hockey fan, and she always said, well, you know, you can't give up a goal in the first 5 minutes of a period, and you just can't give up a goal in the last 5 minutes of a period. So really, at that point, it's just half. And I'm like, well, if it was that simple, we'd have a lot of people playing 0-0 and 1-0 games. Garby starts things off in the just 6 seconds into the second period as the Wolverines now headed northbound. Young controlling it, and again, got to specify that's Dylan Young feeding it over for Erickson. They're out there with Teague Boyd centering. This is sent out of the zone with time, and dumping it right back in is Kyle Gray. With an opportunity, Miller tries a long outlet pass, goes from right to left, and they're not able to get it out of the zone. Wolverines in their green uniforms, white numerals, black trim, now heading from left to right. as you're watching the camera work of Brett DeBryan. Van Horn trying to set that one up. Van Horn, one of a couple of Wolverines that cheers for the Philadelphia Flyers, as well as their goaltender, Interlead. Boyd bringing it over and had to make a little bit of a fancy move to get around Garby. The move ended up working out as far as keeping it away from the Savvy Veterans Center. However, timing was off. We end up having an offside. Yeah, anytime you make a move at the blue line, it usually ends up in an offside, and I think the Wolverines are going to be able to take that and roll with that. Like I said, I think the more stoppages that helps them. Wolverines are a team that can go short bursts with energy and give it some stuff like with Glorioso and Lowell. Jesters need sustained pressure. And one of the, well, there's a quick shot on as that was offered up by Lowell. But one of the things that I noticed when taking a look at the Wolverines' schedule is they're not afraid to get into a high-scoring affair. I mean, they've had a number of games where they put up 9 a couple of times against the Benders, a team that they played a much tighter game last week. And Reichert offers one up from the top of the left offensive circle, and that one looks like an ordinary routine save. But anytime you can find a goaltender who has to get his glove all the way down on the ice and try to scoop it, it's not quite as simple as just a routine ground out to short. No, and it was just above the pad. That's pretty right where you want it, is just above the pad or below the goal or the glove. But Enderlead, like I said, with the confidence, able to make that snag and make it look routine. Upmeyer tries to keep it in the offensive zone. It'll come out. It's kicked out by Brott, who sends it right back in. Now with Reichert in possession, he'll look to turn it up ice for the Jesters. Looked like for a couple of seconds he wanted to make a pass, then realized best to just hold on to it for the time being. Mathers through the slot, wraps one around, and in deep is Reichert. Reichert will get tangled up, feeds it to the point. Mathers replacing him, and then blocked by Davis, who immediately heads up ice. He's looking to get it at the other end. There's that speed of Glorioso we were talking about, but Mathers showing that he's able to get those legs moving as well. Pressured from either side as Lowell was pinching in as well, and that's a fantastic job by Mathers. He had 3 players to get around, somehow able to make a clearance. Interlead, same as always. Looks like a good scoring opportunity, and he makes it look easy as he stops it just 3.5 minutes into our middle frame. Yeah, so the Jesters are looking to shoot from the point, get rebounds, and Enderlead is either not giving up a rebound or giving up rebounds to where he wants him, in the corners, in the breaking out the zone. Enderlead is just my MVP for this game so far. And he's been dictating play, as you mentioned. The Jesters outshot the Wolverines 8-5 officially in period number 1. Curiel going in after a loose puck. I think for initially he was thinking that might have been icing had he not gotten to it. So then he had to rush himself so much, ended up kind of overskating it. Mathers touches up and gets onside, snapping a shot, and it was Tim Young. Then Mathers tries to follow it and was looking to go upstairs over the blocker. The Jesters still pressuring. This has not been cleared yet. Upmeyer tries a backhand centering pass. That won't get through. And with the Wolverines, again, we've been talking about how good Interlead's been playing, but at the other side of the coin, certainly the Wolverines have been helping them out with clearing a lot of rebounds. I can't even begin to tell you how many block shots I've counted. And diving back over, Interlead gets there in time. Both defenders are on their knees, on their stomach. They are taking any shot they can to make sure that Interlead gets the help that he needs. And Tim Young diving over from the side as he thought he may be able to sweep one across. And Whips, you kind of had the opposite view of that play than we did. Any insight that you think you saw there? Because you actually get a little bit closer look at it than we do. Yeah, all 3 were in on that save. First the 2 defensemen, then in Aaron. So it was a true team effort on that one. Well, and nobody's going to use the excuse of, well, I'm saving myself for anything, as this is it. Long off season awaiting both of these teams, but one of them is going to be hoisting the Commissioner's Cup. That one just came out as Pauly thought that he'd gotten to it while it was still on the line, and the official says no. It's Patrick Molman along with Ryan Kelleher, our officials for this afternoon's contest. Just over 14 minutes left to go in the second, and we will have a face-off just outside the Jesters blue line. It's Garby and Boyd at the dot. Couple of takes, and finally the Jesters will control it. Here's Reichert, and he'll slide it over D to D. Josh Brandt with time, banks it off the boards. Ahead with it is Dylan Young. Young tries a centering pass. Not sure if that was for Boyd or Mathers. It kind of went in between them and into no man's land. Kicked out by Garby. Took a second effort, not able to get it there. Here's Mathers, clean at the line. Cuts over to the right, tries to snap a shot. That is blocked by Fred Woodward. Woodward, like my associate here, big Notre Dame fan, and uses the shin guard there to keep that one from getting to the cage. They'll feed it back to the point. Here's Reichert. Reichert has time, and that one was deflected by Boyd right out front. Just put the stick down, tilted it up. Enderlead comes over to his right, and he will get the whistle the Wolverines were desperately looking for.
Yeah, Glorioso and it looks like Dylan Young, or Mathers rather, were given some battle behind the net. I like these refs. The refs are letting them play a little bit of roughness. Nothing's going to hurt, especially in a championship game.
Backhand effort after Boyd flipped it over to Spear. Spear put it on net, and that's just going to pad the stats of netminder Aaron Enderlead. You know, I don't want to say too much about how any of the teams drafted, but to be honest, when I looked at the rosters after they came out, I just was wondering, how did the Jesters get so much offensive firepower? I mean, you've got Erickson and both Youngs, and Boyd and Mathers and Bonnet. I mean, the list goes on, but they're still solid at their own end. I mean, Coble and Reichert and Van Dort, you know, kind of anchor that blue line. So then I'm thinking, okay, then they probably ended up with the weakest goaltender, and they got Dave Brown. I think that probably where this team's success started was that draft night went fantastic for them. Backhand effort, Enderlead comes up with another beauty, and he holds on. And again, anytime that the Wolverines can try to get themselves set, trying to take some, you don't want to take defensive zone faceoffs, but at this point, they're not too concerned with it, as number 35 behind them has been on point.
No, you can definitely. Last year in the other league that we had, it was another matchup like this. It was a high-powered offense in the slashers, and then it was the goalie of Sparks that almost won them the championship. And that's what the Wolverines are looking for. They're looking for Enderlead and their defense to bring the championship to them. And shut down these Jesters, which is somebody I don't think anybody has done.
And just like that matchup, it was the underdog and the team relying heavily on their goaltender that drew first blood. Here it's the Wolverines on top with a Ted Davis goal. Dylan Glorioso, the lone assist. Upmeyer across the line, that's deflected, and actually it was Llewellyn having it bounce off of him. Still went wide, but a little bit closer than it initially was going to be. Trying to tangle up and tie up some sticks is Torin Erickson, who I asked.
No.
Here's Erickson. Erickson fires and just misses wide as we're about to reach the halfway point of the second period. They'll try to wrap it around the boards. And Bonnet with a centering pass. Nobody home. Van Dort goes to one knee to try to block it. Can't. Here comes Glorioso. Full head of steam, then slowed down by Gray. And a nice job there. Gray knows that Glorioso is probably going to get a shot off, but as long as he steers him to the outside. There was a home run pass attempt, but it never got through to Bonnet. Back out, and Lowell with the heads-up play. You don't always have to go forwards, especially as they had nobody back in their own defensive end. They'll miss on the conversion here, but icing is waved off. Going around the boards is Van Dort. He'll take a second effort, wraps it around. Nice play by the official to hop up the boards and get out of the way. Erickson tries to go around Garby and kind of banks it off of him, reaching in Lowell to break that one up. Van Dort using his body, gets tangled up, and we've got a rugby scrum of two as Glorioso was involved. Brown wastes no time getting it ahead for Uppmeyer. Uppmeyer advances play. Bonnet had to look down at his feet to make sure he was onside and was indeed. Uppmeyer loses an edge, and spinning with it is Bonnet. Bonnet with Erickson with him. Blocker save, and then Erickson takes a couple of whacks at it. How did that not go? Enderlead got over in time on the first shot, then dives over to his right and made 2 more saves. Looking to keep it in the offensive zone and keep the pressure dialed up. And right now the Wolverines will take anything to get a clearance. And Lowell, we've got all 5 Wolverines coming off the ice. So I think that although this ends up being an icing, that works out perfectly for the Wolverines, as this is a league where there is no rule that says after you ice it, you can't change. But normally, even when you're trying to get everybody off, you kind of stagger, maybe have somebody wait at the blue line or the red line and let 2-3 guys off and then change. All 5 Wolverines were putting their sticks up in the air as if they were waving a white flag saying, hey, we're dead. We need somebody, and we've got a delayed call, and our first penalty of the game will be tripping against the Wolverines.
That's
and
huge.
The Jesters will go on the power play.
Looks like it's Ted Davis, and that's going to be one of their most premier penalty kill.
And as of right now, he is one of just 2 centers. Normally a position that you want out there on your penalty kill. So for the next 2 minutes, it's Garby who will have to be doing those duties, or they'll go without one. And I don't see him out there right now, so it looks
Curiel
like
took the face off.
It looks like they'll elect to go with 2 wings and 2 defensemen.
And it's good to have. I mean, Curiel is a veteran; he can play the center position. Paulie as well. They have 2 veteran players out there, so I mean they're not too worried. And Curiel there winning the puck.
And especially when you've got 2 centers who are already, you know, with just 2 at that position, they're already getting tested a lot. This'll, if the Wolverines can kill it off, will actually end up working out for them, as that'll give both Garby and Davis a little bit of a breather. Here's Reichert advancing it ahead, and Dylan Young got it across the line, and just as he did, Niemi, a big Red Wings fan out of
smart guy,
Onondaga, Michigan. He's a proud Youper and gets the clearance. Sent up, held in by Reichert. Reichert looked like he was looking to shoot to pass there. Snapping a shot, Tim Young steered aside, and we've seen a couple where Enderleeds had to get the blocker on, but more often than not, those are just hitting him square in the chest. Matt Whips, what are you seeing down there? You've got a great vantage point of this power play.
Oh, it's just incredible, guys. And Interlead is not panicking. He's so square to the puck, and this is a big point of this game. If the Wolverines can kill this off, it's a huge boost for them.
So as we mentioned earlier, Justin Moore out for the Wolverines. For the Jesters, they're without the services of Kevin Coble. Also Christopher White, who had surgery back in, I want to say it was November, but Tim Young said he has been invaluable as their assistant coach, and he's there every step of the way, hoping they can convert here. Backhand shot, and that's blocked before it got through. Llewellyn doing the work, as that's captain-on-captain robbery. Staying in the zone, Mathers. We're back to 5-on-5. They'll feed it over for Young. Tim Young snaps a shot, again blocked by Llewellyn.
He went to all 4s to block that. He's taken one for his team. True captain there.
Woodward sends it up to the line. Van Dort keeps it in. Woodward, backhand effort. That'll get slowed down off the boards. And Scott Van Dort wants to play it ahead. That actually gets picked off. Here comes Davis. Davis in, fires, and a glove save by Brown.
That is a huge save, especially when Brown hasn't had any, I wouldn't say any shots on goal within the last 10 minutes. Having to come up with a huge save, especially on Ted Davis, coming in high slot. That's a heck of a save by Dave Brown.
And Davis, off of the shot, was going for precision instead of putting everything he had on that shot. And that was a tricky one. As you could see, Brown wanted to make sure it didn't somehow slip through underneath his arm. Normally when you see a goaltender make a glove save, his glove is kind of away from the body. There, it was like he was just trying to protect his armpit, and he was able to not only make the stop, but maybe more importantly, just give himself a moment, get that whistle. As you mentioned, it had been a while since he'd been tested, and sometimes those long delays can do things for goaltenders, especially in the helmet, in between the old ears. And he did not disappoint as he kept his squad within one. Van Dort sets that up for Eriksson off the board, and the Wolverines respond and clear it out. 3:55 to go, 1-0. The Wolverines leading thanks to a Ted Davis goal back in period number 1. Eriksson spins around his opposition, as that was Van Horn who got tangled up. Boyd and Reichert both looking to jump on the puck. Reichert will let it go for Boyd, who tried to feed it over, and Reichert just trying to get a backhand deflection. Then again from the blue line normally, but he's down at the crease trying to spark some offense. A lot of times you'll see defensemen who will only score if they're wrapping shots from way far out. There, Reichert going to the gritty areas of the ice and trying to do it that way. Picked off, and here comes Miller. Miller fires, misses on the near side, and Glorioso has to get there, and that's a big play by Glorioso. Otherwise, when you miss on a shot like that and it caroms all the way around, in essence, it ends up being almost a breakout for the opposition. In fact, the Washington Capitals scored a few nights ago on a goal like that when Vegas had a great opportunity offensively, missed the cage, and then it simply becomes a long rebound going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, Glorioso is all over the ice here, and you know, something he needs to do after all of the Facebook talk and all the Facebook memes and everything. He put his team on his shoulders right now and said, I'm going to go ahead and use my speed to help.
That's Jean Richard, as I've noticed that actually we've been calling him Reichert, but if you look at the back, R-I-E, that can't be how that's pronounced.
I would say Richard, that's fine.
Kept in the play and trying to advance it was Mathers. And it's interesting that Llewellyn told me when they were preparing for this, they knew that Justin Moore was going to be gone. And there's a couple of ways to go about it as far as preparation and gamesmanship. And this is Niemi, takes his time, and we're going to have a penalty. And some chatter as well. And then Uppmeyer going after Thiele. So I don't think that this is going to be what it initially was. I think we had just one penalty. We're probably looking at multiple as the officials will sort this out. But teammates trying to calm down Blake Uppmeyer out of Garner, Iowa, big Minnesota Wild and UMD Bulldogs fan, and Thiele both heading to the box. And what really works, and now Uppmeyer's been given a misconduct. And perhaps even worse is the fact that this clock is still running.
No, it's going.
And there's obviously plenty of time left in this game, but this is hurting the Jesters as 55 is headed off the ice. We're inside of a minute left, and now if you're the Jesters, one, you just want to get this puck back in play, and two, you're trying to get some composure for your team, and Uppmeyer is none too happy that he's being given an early shower here in the second.
No, and with the period ending, it's going to give Tim Young a little bit of time because they're going to have to readjust the lines here, going another person short. So having an odd man wing is something that they're going to have to tend to here too as well.
On the draw, 25 seconds left to go in period number 2. Tim Young from the right carves through, slaloms, tries to get an odd angle shot off. And again, we talk about the Wolverines making sure that doesn't get through. Here's Mathers, sets it over. Young,
oh my
denied!
goodness.
Tim Young had a great opportunity there, and Enderlead sliding over on the pads, then gets low, but won't have to make a play there, as that one was broken up before it ever got through. Second period is in the books. We've still got a minute 40 left up on the clock, and in that penalty, and boy, we have seen almost everything to this point except a flurry of goals, and that's because of the two that just met at center ice and gave each other a little congratulatory knucks. But these goaltenders have been fantastic. We're going to quick see if Matt Whips down on the Jesters bench is able to either provide just some insight from there or maybe even see if he can't snag a quick interview.
Guys, I'm here with Torin Erickson of the Jesters. Torin, you guys find yourself in the unfamiliar position and down 1-0 going into the third. Interlead seems to be stopping everything he can see. What do you got to do to get one past him?
He's playing his heart out. He's playing really well. We just got to keep doing. We got to keep playing Jester hockey. We know we can put some on the board on him, and just got to keep our passes going and take the shots on net.
All right, Torin, good luck in the third. Thanks for this.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
All right, don't forget that Red Dragon Herbs Custom Blended Tea is a proud sponsor of D-League Radio. Loose leaf herbal teas from around the world. Popular flavor favorites include anti-inflammatory, Turkish apple, and the ever-popular chai. Red Dragon Herb Tea is now being served at 1882 Coffee Company in Bondurant. Stop by their stand at the Des Moines Farmers Market on Saturdays, or you can order online at reddragonherbs.net. Remember, a custom tea blend is a great gift idea for people that like to receive gifts, and a couple of times it seems like, thanks to good puck work, a couple of Jesters were receiving gifts in the form of goals, and Enderlead just made sure that did not get through, because he has made about 4 or 5 that I prematurely wanted to say, all right, this is going in, and somehow he's able to grab it just on the line.
Yeah, I don't know how Interlead can see half of these pucks with so much traffic. Tim Young, with probably one of the most potent goal scorers in the league, point blank had a shot and just robbed by Interlead.
Tim Young brings it in the offensive zone. Curiel was trying to get it cleared out.
It's a 3-on-1.
And now they'll feed it up for Curiel. Last man back is Bront. Curiel waits and fires and scores! Ted Davis was cutting through. I thought that's where he was going to go with it, and Curiel keeps it on the ice, beats Brown low, and just 30 seconds into period number 3, the Wolverines have doubled their lead. It's 2-0.
We talked about it. Curiel, a veteran, can play the position. What do you see down there? I hear a lot of hollering, Matt.
Oh, yeah, it's a huge boost, and you guys, everybody thought he was going to center that puck, including Brown, who had to play it that way, and Curiel just snapped that in. It was a beautiful goal.
Here comes Dylan Young, other side. Interlead grabs it with the glove, but then wasn't 100% sure. Kind of peeks over, make sure that hadn't trickled as a rebound. And should point out that we've got 30 seconds left on the penalty, and Thiele in the box, and I can't see who that is. I think it might be Bonnet, but we're still playing 5-on-5, so it'll be another 22 and a whistle. But with Thiele and Uppmeyer getting called for the infractions, they end up offsetting, so that was not a special teams goal. In fact, the Wolverines, for a second, were thinking with Thiele in the box, they should only have 4 out there. So this will be played all the way down. Schuler misses on that late man to the party. And it was indeed Robert Bonnet serving that penalty for Uppmeyer. And Thiele, of course, comes out of the box celebrating like he had something to do with that goal.
I mean, he always has something to do with the goal, even if he's not even on the ice. So there's that.
So we'll have a face-off to the glove side of Enderlead. Young tries to feed it over, and Mathers not able to get there in time. He gets spun around as the 2 number 7s collide. Miller ends up coming away with the victory, however, as the Wolverines get the clearance. Flipped in from the red line, it's Chad Van Horn giving chase. Van Horn, a big body, 6'3", 245, at least if we are to believe his measurements, and I have no reason not to. Stepping up is Woodward, and I don't want to say at this point that the Wolverines are playing to try to win this 2-0 or 2-1, but they're certainly not going to do anything stupid with the puck. And we've seen a couple of times they get to the red line, they feel pressure, play it deep, and make the other squad go the whole length of the ice.
Well, you can say that they're trying to defend a 2-goal lead, but they've been playing this game the whole time. Get it out of our zone, get it in deep, and let the Jesters go 180 feet, 200 feet to beat us, because they have to go through 180 feet to 205 guys to beat before they get to Enderlead, and you have Enderlead behind you. You're not really scared right now. So they're definitely protecting a 2-goal lead, but it's the style of play that they've been playing the entire game.
And the Jesters applying all the pressure thanks in part to a power play, but in the second frame outshot the Wolverines 10-2. Centering pass on the backhand. and it does not connect. So that means that in the last 2 periods, and obviously we're still early here in the third, that they've only mustered up 3 shots on goal, but one of them found the back of the net and doubled their lead. Here's Boyd into the offensive zone. He's got Mathers and won't get that through as Llewellyn comes up with a big stop. This will be swept back in by Van Dort, but the Wolverines will have plenty of time as they are dealing with a squad that was offside for a moment. Schuler sends it in deep, and why fix it if it's not broken? They're certainly not at this point going to pass up opportunities they have to try to advance the score. But the last thing you want to do, and I've seen a lot of teams over the years do this, is when you play differently when you've got a lead versus when you're trailing. When you've got, and this is picked off.
3-on-1.
Lowell's got Garby and Glorioso. He'll bring it across the line. They're clean. Lowell fires it through, and Brown is able to make the stop, then sweep it over with the stick. He'll leave it there for Boyd, and the Jesters have a clearance. But when you're the team trailing, you're the team that needs to start taking some risks, maybe playing a little bit more aggressively than you normally would. The Wolverines are not going to fall for that trap. There, they had a great opportunity, big blocker save by Enderlead, but as this is fed back to the point, Reichert tries to muster it through, and
Good
Young
play by Thiele.
Young got tied up by Thiele, and by the time he got back, the goaltender was in perfect position. Thiele slows it down, banks it, and it kicks off of Dylan Young. Backhand effort. Erickson spinning to try to get a shot off, does get one towards the net, but not a lot on it as he was tied up well by Llewellyn. Enderlead will cover up and take a well-deserved break here for a moment. 12:25 left to go in period number 3. And Matt, you're on the side of the benches. Tell us, Wolverines, 12.5 minutes to go, up by 2. How do you feel that the energy is on that bench right now?
It's very high, guys, and they're doing a lot of very short shifts. They're trying to keep it as short as possible and stay high energy and defend this thing.
And a shot from Van Dort at the point was bouncing and just went wide. Here's Gray. Gray steps up, and again a blocked shot. This time it's Ted Davis. Davis gets it done at both sides of the ice. Had the opening goal, and then make sure that Gray doesn't get his team's first goal of the contest. Van Dort sends it over. Tib Young disrupted at the line. Nice job by Dylan staying onside. Kicked up by Enderlead. Pauly tries to get a clearance. Backhanded deep by 44 Van Dort. Around Niemi. Wraps it to the boards. Held in by Dylan Young. Mathers tries to take the exchange. Diving to make a play. And the Jesters will overman the puck with both Dylan Young and Mathers there. Sent out front, and hitting off the side of the cage was Young. Now it's Tim Young with it. He'll wait. He's pressured by Miller. Poked away by Davis, and it stays in the zone. Now it'll be played out, and it will be an icing with 10 minutes and 50 seconds to go. And the Wolverines, again, it's not the goaltender, it's not the defenseman, it's all 6 on the ice and everybody on the bench communicating, but they're getting it done right now through a true team effort.
Yeah, Dave Brown right now is seeing the energy going down on the Jesters. You get so many shots, you get so many denials from all 6 guys. The mood gets a little bit down. Brownie's trying to get them to push up.
Backhand effort, and it's in. Erickson follows it up. That was a 3rd attempt, and it takes a deflection. And talk about a little pep in your step as Tim Young leads the line back to the bench, and they've made it a 1-goal game.
Yeah, you talked about it. That's the first time Enderlead has had a rebound that didn't go where he wanted it to, and Torrin Erickson just put it in the back of the net.
Was just about to make the comparison as the Jesters looked like they were trying to piece together what went wrong with a failed relationship and starting to think, maybe it is me. Maybe I just can't beat Enderlead today. And as soon as that happens, big goal on the backhand by Torrin Erickson. The Malacca, Minnesota native gets his squad on the board. Nice job holding on.
Oh.
No! Bonnet thought that he had the blade of the stick on, or excuse me, the blade of the skate on the blue line, but the official says that it just crept over. Either that or he said he lifted it. Either way, offsides with 9:20 to play.
We're sitting on the blue line, and I'm telling you right now, it was offsides, but if this is not a championship game, that's a play-on-play. So good for the rest to let some things go, but also understand that we got to play what we need to play.
Mathers gets tangled up on the draw with Woodward. Neither looks any worse for the wear. Bonnet from the right wing side. Centering pass, and Thiele comes over and breaks things up on Boyd before he's ever able to get that off. Gray tries to one-time it, stays with it, now shoots, blocked out front, and it's getting physical and chippy.
Very chippy.
Schuler with a lead pass intended for Woodward. Coming in with speed, Mathers kicks it to himself, cuts across, and goes down, and we're going to have a penalty. I believe this will be a trip, and now some retaliation. Jesters keep it alive. Throw it towards the net, and Interlead will touch up. And it's going to be a kneeing penalty, not a tripping penalty. 8 minutes and 15 seconds to play in the third, and this is critical. We've seen already earlier in the game, emotions start to rise. This is where the teams really need to control it, because doing something that can come back and haunt your team right now is something nobody wants to live through in the offseason.
Yeah, this is the first time that you can see the Jesters kind of start to panic. They haven't been panicked at all. I mean, I thought coming into the game they might play a little bit tight because they're going to be up against the team. This is the first time I've seen them tight and not going down. Is the mood changed on their Whips?
Well, the Wolverines aren't panicking at all, guys. And it's another tall order to kill this penalty, but they look to be up to the challenge.
And David Brown was actually taking that draw in position. He was up above the circles, and I think a lot of that had to do with just trying to rally the troops. But for a moment, I was going to say, let's keep an eye on him just in case the Jesters try to do something a little bit fancy and maybe pull him for a two-man advantage, but too much time left for that. Glorioso breaks up that play back to the blue line, stays with it, and now he'll kill some valuable time as the Wolverines are shorthanded, tries to get it deep. That's stolen away. Here comes Van Dort. Van Dort steered to the side by Lowell, plays it to the opposite end. Here's Nemi, and that'll take a deflection off of the cage of Tim Young and come out to center ice. And I didn't notice this at first. That was a double minor. 4 put up on the board. Spear puts it towards the net. Interlead holds on and will have a whistle with 6:30 to play. Don't forget that Cherry Screen Printing and Sewing is your short-run garment decorating specialist. Custom jerseys or uniforms for any sport. Original art screen printing on any occasion. Company functions, school outings, family fun events, and much more. No minimum order. That's my favorite part. You can order 1. You can order 50. A multitude of garment decorating options, whether it's screen printing, embroidery, whatever, and options to fit any budget. The official outfitter of the CIDL. You can check them on the web at socherry.com or like them on Facebook. Pauly brings it into the offensive half of the ice and didn't need to as his squad was shorthanded, but gets a nice, good clearance and brings that behind the goal line. They'll try a long pass, and Erickson able to get around Pauly. Llewellyn tries to send it. Erickson comes up with the shot. Interlead the stop.
Yeah, Interlead got his confidence back with that shot. If he thought that the other goal was an unlucky goal, so it's good to see him bounce back with a huge save here. 5:25 left in the period, a minute 40 left in the penalty. Precious time ticking away for the Jesters.
And what I didn't like about that setup by the Jesters is sometimes, especially with over 5 minutes to go, sometimes teams will start to go, you know what, if we can just connect on one long pass, that'll be all we need. And that ends up just eating up too much time, because there we saw that pass connect with Erickson. I thought after he got around Pauly, that was going to be the end of it, as it looked like Llewellyn was going to be able to get there in time. So as tempting as it is to try those long, low percentage plays, the best thing on a power play to do is use that extra man, skate, make sure everybody's moving and on the same page, and find the open man. Here they'll bring it across with Erickson. Cuts to the right, fires and misses on the short side. Pauly will try to get it out. Gets it to the line, but it stays in. Here's Erickson looking to feed it over. Spinning and firing is Dylan Young. And then Curiel talking it out with Inderlead. I think in different situations, Inderlead might say, let's keep that puck moving, but not here. He's content to use up as much of the clock as possible, especially considering that they've got their man Chad Van Horn now coming out in just 23 seconds.
Yeah, it looks like the Wolverines are changing on every line or every whistle here, and that's eating more precious time, plus pushing fresh legs on the ice. So they're doing everything correctly right now to make sure that they can protect the lead.
Brott sets it up for Reichert. Garby blocks his effort. Then great communication there as Garby and Niemi were both going to go for it. Niemi calls him off. They can't get it out, however. Reichert towards the net. And a stick save by the goaltender, who again, controlling his rebounds, leaves it right in front of him and smothers it with the glove. We're back to even strength. 3:28 to go in this championship game. If you're just joining us, Wolverines got the first two of the contest moments ago. It was Torin Erickson from Tim Young and Josh Brott to make it a one-goal contest. Trying to get a shot through was Brott. That's blocked away by Davis. And Davis is among a handful of players on the Wolverines. We could point this out, but that's a couple of welts that are going to end up purple and yellow somewhere on his body. And you know what? Nobody talks about the sting of it if they're holding hardware when it's all said and done.
Very true.
Mathers, great drop pass to Bonnet. Bonnet waits, fires, and a big stop. And I think that might have gotten part of his shoulder, too. Centering pass out front. Mathers will try a second effort. People stopped for a moment. I think they thought there was a whistle. Shot blocked by Davis with authority. It goes back into the blue line of the Jesters, and Dave Brown comes out to play it. And then that'll quickly be played back in by Schuler before Brown had an opportunity to get back into his crease. I think if Schuler had known exactly where he was, might have said, let's just try to ice this one now with a goal from outside the blue line. Poked up, and Van Dort has Garby coming in on him, quickly switches sides, and that's a good idea. 2:05 to go. We will have a stopped clock pretty much from this point forward, as it was just onside. Nice job by Boyd of dragging that skate. Brown is out up by the Pepsi logo, past the circles, and he's starting to look and think about pulling himself for a sixth skater. And as we can see, Tim Young's probably going to be the next man onto the ice. He's already got one skate over the bench. With time is great. Brown will make that. No, he will not yet. He pump faked. But we'll call a balk as he heads back in between the circles. 1:27 to go. Thrown towards the netminder. He'll take it from the left circle. No pressure. He'll feed this ahead for Bonnet, and he'll head off. Empty net for the Jesters. They skate 6-on-5. Wrapped around. Here's Llewellyn behind his own goal line. Kicked off by Tim Young. Waiting. Centering pass. Bonnet slows it down. From a sharp angle. Centering pass. Slamming at it was Erickson, and denied by Inderlead. He gets over to the other side. Erickson talking out with Bonnet. Bonnet takes the handoff, and it's played around. Lowell tries to get it out, can't. Here's Mathers. Mathers in the slot, pressured by Woodward. Fantastic job. Reichert off of Woodward. Again, a blocked shot. Thrown towards the net. And it seems like the Jesters have 8 skaters out there. They're just getting to everything. Reichert tries to send it over. Instead, it's Lowell.
And that's not going to go icing.
It's going to die because it was floating on its side. It's Van Dort who picks it up with 28 seconds to go and goes around the boards. Now with it is Miller. Miller tries to get it deep. Glorioso will pick it up and chips it into the offensive zone. From there, it will be taken by Reichert. 13 seconds left. Ahead for Tim Young. Young bangs bodies with Miller. Young steered to the side into the corner. Tries to get a pass across. Can't. 3 seconds left. 2. Young will have to shoot. 1. No shot. And the Wolverines are your 2018 CIDL Intermediate Champions.
Look at the celebration, boys.
The 6th time these two teams met on the season. The first time it was a 5-5 draw. Then it was 4 straight victories for the Jesters, but the Wolverines started this postseason run sub 500. It took a shootout to get out of the first round, a shootout to win their conference, and they are your champions.
That was a game, boys. That we wanted coming into this game, right? The championship for the novice team had a great game. Always said it was, can we top that? And I don't know about you, but I feel like that is just as good, if not topped. That was a heck of a game by 2 veteran teams, 2 teams that are well-deserved to be in the championship. All the season to the Jesters. The Jesters had a heck of a season. They did all that they could, and they fired everything at them. But, I mean, my MVP is Interlead, followed by a close second of the entire team of just blocking shots.
That's funny. I was going to say the same thing, and Enderlead is the player that's going to be, when all's said and done, and fables are written about this epic match, he's going to be the one that's most talked about, and quite honestly, I think he played the best of anyone for the Wolverines, but I can't give him my game MVP because it was such a team effort. First off, Justin Moore, putting them in a position, although he isn't there today, this team probably doesn't win a championship without him throughout the season. Then you just go down the line. Is there a guy on this team that's going to come back and say, boy, I got a lot of energy right now? Is there a guy on this team that can't show some sort of bruise, some sort of physical ailment that they're going to be suffering for the next couple of days because of how much they put on the effort? We saw diving plays. We saw blocked shots. We saw guys getting probably a little bit more physical than they normally would. And we will go ahead and throw this down to Matt Whips at the Buccaneer logo at center ice. Matt, take it away.
All right, thanks, guys. Getting ready to do the trophy presentation now. So first, a few words to the Jesters. Guys, an incredible game today. You had the best record in the regular season. You had the biggest goal differential. You got past the Stampede in the semis and came up just short today, but congratulations on a great season. Wolverines, 4th in the regular season. Shootout victory over the Wanderers in the first round. Overtime and shootout over the Benders in the second round. You took care of it in regulation today, 2-1, a fantastic game. Congratulations. You are the CIDL Intermediate Champions. Captain Ryan Llewellyn, come get your trophy.
Let the celebration begin.
Well, within the span of a few days, we had the Washington Capitals hoist the trophy, the Wild Goose, and now the Wolverines get their chance. Quick scoring summary. Ted Davis from Dylan Glorioso, 8:46 into period number 1. And Andrew Curiel with the game winner, an assist to Chris Pauley, 23 seconds into the third period. Torrin Erickson scored the lone goal for the Jesters from Tim Young and Josh Brott at the 7:40 mark of period number 3, and that was all she wrote. We'll send it back down to Matt Whips as he's got a couple of guests with him ice side. Matt.
Guys, I'm here with the game-winning goal producer, Andrew Curiel. Andrew, an incredible game. How did you guys be able to do what nobody thought you could today?
Well, we knew what was at stake. You know we didn't have the best period, but we had the heart, I think. We had the most heart. It's just hard to explain what we did. We just told each other we're going to play a little rougher. You know, we played too laid back. Today we just went all full speed that we knew we had, and this is what happened. We could have done this all season, but, you know, we didn't know we had it in us until today. And I'm going to be honest, it was a tough season. It's hard game.
Lots of blocked shots today, especially in the slot. Was that part of your game plan coming into this?
Actually, not really, but we knew what we had to do. We didn't want Enderlead to make any more saves than he had to, which is quite a bit, but, you know, we're all going to sacrifice the body. You know, it doesn't have to be just Enderlead, and we help him out. He's done a tremendous job for us all season.
All right, well, congratulations again. Go celebrate with your teammates.
All right, thank you.
So here's one thing I want to note. I need to change my team name to a W. Washington Capitals, Wild Goose, now the Wolverines. The W gets the W.
Well, the W gets the W in 2018. We'll have to see if that rings true going forward. One more time, we want to thank our sponsor, the Keg Stand. Join us for the final get-together of the inaugural CIDL season, as we'll meet at the Keg Stand this Tuesday, June 12th at 7 p.m. There'll be a bubble hockey tournament where the winner gets $100 in cash. Great giveaways and door prizes, food and drink specials all night long. A live episode of D-League Radio with guests and interviews from the championship games, and important news and updates about CIDL for next season. Join us at the Keg Stand on Tuesday at 7 p.m. to celebrate this inaugural season. That's the Keg Stand, 3530 West Town Parkway. Matt, we're trying to catch our breath and let our minds catch up to everything we've just seen. But from ice side, from your opportunity to see things from the other side, the benches, and then talk about anything you want, including, I mean, the emotion being displayed right now. I know that any championship is a big one, but this, because of the setting, because of their leading scorer not being here, because of the fact that they had yet to beat this team, this really has a very unique feeling to it, doesn't it?
It really does, guys. And when the Wolverines went up 2-0, that was so huge because that gave them just a little bit of cushion, and they started to believe. And even when the Jesters got that first goal, they didn't panic, and they just kept believing in what they were doing. And they obviously had a game plan coming in that they were not going to let the Jesters beat them in the slot. With all those blocked shots, and Enderlead had to be great, and he was, in my opinion, the difference in the game. But a true team effort on part of the Wolverines. They earned this one. Congratulations.
And I'll agree with you there. I think he was the difference in the game. On the other side, the goaltender Dave Brown played fantastic, but he wasn't called upon nearly as often as Enderlead. So it's not that anything that he didn't do, but just the way that the game unfolded, there were a couple opportunities that the Jesters were not able to capitalize on, and part of that difficulty for Brown was the fact that there were long stretches where he wasn't seeing any action, and the Wolverines just, I think that this game was won for them. It was executed on the ice, but it was won for them the week leading up. The locker room, the game plan. These guys weren't walking in with a wing and a prayer just hoping they could find a way to win a championship. They really drew this up from the beginning.
Yeah, and I mean, you couldn't write any better a story for this team. This team, again, below 500 coming into the playoffs. Wasn't expected to do a lot, but every game got the shootout win. Got the shootout win again. You know, Enderlead, his confidence kept going up and up. And with a shootout win, your confidence builds, and after having two and coming in with the Jesters and stopping the first 5 to 10 shots and looking at covering your rebounds, he only grew in confidence, which grew that team's in confidence, and getting those 2-goal leads is the hardest in hockey, and they held it. And they held it with the 2-1, and nothing against the Jesters. The Jesters played a heck of a season. They did it well all season, especially in this game. But if you're going to beat a team once, it better be for the championship.
Oh, that's exactly it, and that's the one thing going into this. Through no fault of their own, the Jesters had at no point in the season been tested. They'd never had a critical game in the playoffs, or excuse me, in the regular season. They get into their one playoff game, and it ends up being a pretty comfortable win over the Stampede. The Wolverines, down the stretch, were battling there with the Benders, trying to get the bye. They end up on the short end of that stick, and it ends up maybe working out for the best, as that gave them a big win against the Wanderers. That built into their shootout victory against the Benders. And as we saw today, it might not have been the prettiest win, but nobody's going to talk about how pretty it is as long as you're the last one standing.
Absolutely true. It's a pleasure working with you, Zamora. As always, class act. Whips, thanks for everything you do, sir. I'm glad to be on this. Glad to be a part of this show.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I mean, a couple of one-goal games for the championships, so couldn't have scripted it much better. Just a great, great day of hockey.
No, and it proves. It proves to the CIDL that having a combine and having fair teams and having that growth as a team, anybody can win and anybody can challenge anybody any day. So I love the disparity. I love making sure that everybody has a chance and coming into this arena day in and day out every Sunday and coming away with a championship is just something that's special.
I think if there was any criticism about the CIDL going into the season, it was that maybe some people were like, hey, I just want to show up on Sundays and I just want to play some hockey. Why are we going through all this time and effort? And as we saw today, that time and effort really paid off. If you're going to do something and care about it as much as we all do, which is adult hockey, then you might as well do it right. And the CIDL couldn't have asked for more out of their inaugural season. And as we just saw, or just heard about with that keg stand live read that we did a moment ago, even more exciting things on the horizon. So for everybody who was a part of this, including everybody up in the lounge and all the players, obviously, if it weren't for you guys, we'd just be a couple of guys with headphones standing at an empty hockey arena. We appreciate you guys. We want to thank Matt Whips for getting in there and doing the dirty work on the sidelines. We want to thank Brett DeBryan running the camera, Rich Harms, who obviously none of this would be possible without him. And then how about this? The two faces of D-League Radio getting to play on the ice for the championship, John Reichert and Ryan Llewellyn. And Llewellyn gets the last laugh as he can now celebrate. He'll bring that cup. He and Ovechkin, I think, are going back to Russia to celebrate in their motherland.
That's very true.
With some hard-earned hardware. But he's Craig Frake, and I'm Eric Zamora. Again, a final here from the 2018 Intermediate Championship game. The Wolverines champions with a 2-1 victory over the Jesters, and you've been watching D-League Radio.